four-time Miss Olympia Jay Cutler. Welcome to my channel, Jay Cutler TV, and make sure to stay in tune with the newest and updated videos. Subscribe below, guys. Thank you so much for following along.
All right, Doc. What else we got?
The fourth one is, Dear Dave and Doc, I am a 50-year-old male living in Europe. Testosterone level not terrible, but not what it used to be in my youth. Welcome to the club. Obviously, and thus having slow healing of gym injuries, some depressed mood, and waking up at 2 a.m. often when stressed at work. My lab results, total test, 496 nanograms per deciliter. Free test, 9 nanograms per deciliter. That doesn't make sense. Anyway, test bioavailable, 7.5 nanomoles per liter. SHBG, 40 nanomoles per liter. Albumin, 43 grams per liter. My plan is to start full TRT eventually, but as late as possible, and maintain my natural production for as long as feasible. Okay, I'll come back to that. Would it be a good approach now to now start taking a low dose of oral test undecanoate, Andriol testo caps?
Have you heard about Andriol? That used to be around back. Yeah.
The undecanoate.
We don't have that here, do we?
Well, yeah, we do.
Oh, okay.
Well, actually, the oral I don't think is available yet. I think it actually might be out this year sometime. It may be out this year, but if not, it's supposed to be out this year. But undecanoate in injectable form has been around for at least a year now.
Okay. But I remember those Andriol pills. They used to be in gyms, years ago.
Yeah, they're short acting.
Yeah,
they're, I mean, they're definitely not my favorite.
I know.
I can't understand why someone would choose that method, but there's always different circumstances.
Yeah.
But in general, it's probably not the best. Anyway, low dose of oral test undecanoate, the Andriol, early in the morning only, which due to the short half-life would be gone by evening, and thus not suppress my natural test production much, but still get a bit of a boost on injury healing and mood, and maybe even better sleep, ?
Bro science.
Okay, you said it, I
I know what you're thinking.
didn't. How high could I go without triggering serious suppression? Kind regards, Martin. Well, Martin, I hope this is helpful because, I first of all, my plan is to start TRT fully eventually, but as late as possible, and maintain my natural production for as long as possible or feasible. Please don't shoot the messenger, okay? But what natural production?
I know.
A free test of 9, okay? And I'm laughing with you, Martin, okay? Top of a female is 4.2,
wow.
Okay? And you're at 9. This is low, and I'm really not making fun because this is typical. I mean, actually, you're doing pretty good for what it's worth. I don't mean to give you left-handed compliment, for a 50-year-old, I mean, especially one under stress, enough stress that's waking you up at 2 a.m.
Yep.
So, this is not unusual. There's nothing wrong with you per se, is my point. But this is not doing you any good. I mean, you put it in perspective. 28 picograms per milliliter is more what you're shooting for on the top end, and actually in with replacement therapy, because you're 50 years old, we have to even go a little bit higher than that. We've known that we need higher doses than would be typical for, say, a 20-year-old. We've known that since the 1950s to get clinical benefit anyway. So start now would be my message. What's the point in waiting? But to answer the question, just for informational purposes, you're probably doing yourself the worst turn of all by sort of half-stepping it. Think of it as in the same way you use birth control pills. Use a very, very small dose of estrogen and progesterone to just enough so the body says, oh, well, we've got plenty on board, don't need to produce our own, okay? And that's enough to screw up the menstrual cycle. Basically, that's what you're doing here by doing a small dose. This is not such a small dose that you don't even get any benefit out of it like you would, you take a small dose of estrogen, you're not going to get bloating and stuff like that associated with excess estrogen that you would otherwise. But and this is why the Andriol gels of the world still have some teeth in the marketplace, because hey, even if I feel better for 2 or 3 hours, it's better than the way I felt before, typically, although also somewhat typically, say 50-50-ish, some people say, yeah, but I felt worse the next 21 hours, so that ain't worth it.
Right.
And that's typically what happens, certainly with the numbers, almost invariably. Especially a dose like this, you stop your own production so that the next time if you tried this program, this protocol, the next time you pull labs, the total test is going to be 250, and the free test, your body will still try to struggle to get what it can out of there, but the free test might be something like 5.
Wow.
So this is a horrible plan. I mean, I understand in theory, so I don't mean to,
I know.
Again,
that's why I said
put it
bro
down
science, because in our head, sometimes if you don't know, it makes sense, but really it doesn't.
Yeah, but it's not the way the body works.
Right.
And think of it as like a thermostat, if you will, and it's not even a good example or analogy, but you're faking your body out. Again, this the best one I can think of is like birth control. So I think you're going to trigger serious suppression from the get-go, no matter what you do with this kind of dosing. And so the best, in my opinion, would be to go all in and go on TRT. It's either, anything we're doing is we're doing right.
Right.
And I don't think that little bit, again, based on the analogy I used, the 3 or 4 hours you might have of higher than your normal total test, your normal, won't be worth the subsequent hours that you have lower than normal tests.
Yep.
And so your healing will actually get worse, your mood will actually be worse over a 24-hour period.
Yep.
That said, who am I? I'm not Merlin. I don't know all and see all for sure. I'm just going based on my clinical experience. You give it a try, and again, write me a note and tell me, hey, did it work better to use? I mean, I think the studies show that for oral undecanoate, you're going to want to use 3-a-day dosing. Some people get away with 2 a day maybe, but those are those studies where, I felt, 1.356% better. I mean, if you're going to do this, let's get the results out of it. So I think they're like 40 milligram tabs, right?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I can't remember.
So, I mean, anyway, what are the dosages? I mean, 3 times a day is kind of a pain in the rear end.
Yeah.
I guess I answered all the questions with that kind of general answer. I think you'd be better off finding a doctor to help you with just true TRT, and just really understand that at 50, this is normal.
Right.
This is expected, however you want to put it, and you'll only be better off by going for it. I mean, there's a lot of resistance to going on replacement therapy for some interesting reasons when you actually think them through. A once-a-week injection and pills, maybe say 3 times a week, is nothing compared to those of us who aren't bearded, shaving.
I know.
Once a day. I mean, this is easy for way more benefits than we get from shaving.
Yeah.
So I would strongly consider, just sort of a rethinking. And by the way, for depressed mood, waking up, healing, he's on the right track. Oftentimes the waking up at 2 a.m. Is a result of just not feeling that sense of well-being that you felt before when you'd wake up at 2 a.m. and start thinking about the 2.3 kids and a mortgage or whatever. And shut up, brain. Go back to sleep. I'll handle it like I always do because I'm a champ at 5 a.m. when I wake up.
Right.
So I think maybe he'll send me a postcard telling me, hey, it all worked out for the best one day too. That would be my recommendation.
We hope.
Yeah.
Thanks, Doc.